You're listening to the Virtually Free Podcast, a place for all you digital nomads and freedom chasers out there. Get the real talk on what it's like to make a living online. Want to ditch the 9-to-5, vacation on your terms? Discover the ins and outs of freelancing? Then you're in the right place. And now your host, Amy Damone.
Today is episode 1 of the Virtually Free Podcast. Today's episode is going to be a solo episode with your host, me, Amy Damone, and I'm going to be answering the question, what does it mean to be virtually free? So you're probably wondering, WTF does it mean to be virtually free? Well, let me tell you. From the time I was a little girl, I always knew I was going to live a life out of the ordinary. I know this sounds pretentious or obnoxious or flat out lame, but I honestly, truly, and sincerely mean it. Looking back in my life, like the old grandma that I am, I can practically see exactly what God, Source, Gaia, whatever you want to call it, had planned for me. I see snippets of me coding my very own MySpace page so I could have the most aesthetically pleasing profile on the block. Facebook really killed my jam with that, by the way. I was always on Pixo and Neopets, and all those fun, customizable apps circa 2003. But I also look back and see just how many bad situations I kept getting myself into again and again without ever really learning how to navigate the situation properly. You know, things like allowing people to overstep your boundaries or take advantage of you. And then I would come into money and then immediately blow it on a nice dinner out when I was struggling to pay my rent that month. You know, the whole shebang. And truth be told, I never really learned until about a year ago. I also look back and see how when things didn't come so easily to me, I gave up. I also recognize the very scary fact that I had some serious self-confidence issues. No bueno when you're trying to sell your services, folks. One of the coolest concepts I ever heard was this. Entrepreneurship is a deep dive into self-development. And well, folks, this couldn't be more spot on. You have to be pretty damn prepared to stand in the fire with yourself when you're living that entrepreneurial life. What I mean is this. You better be ready to have sleepless nights and financial woes. You better be ready to be smacked in the face with those subconsciously created thought process and habits that have kept you comfortable, safe, and in a place where you may have been screwing yourself over. But fear not, it's not always like this. Once I started treating my business like an actual business and not something I was doing just to get by, things started to change. I started showing up for myself and my business more. I created habits that helped me achieve my goals. I wrote blog posts to gain more visibility. I went and still go on every single podcast that will have me. I made sure I am always thinking from a growth mindset, and don't you worry if you don't know what this is. I will definitely have an episode on this later. And that's exactly when this crazy online business game started changing for me. My bank balance went up. I was able to hire on 2 assistants, a Facebook ads expert, and a copywriter. And I started working with clients that I loved and that loved me in return. Hell, one of my clients just gifted me and her other assistant a 3-day Tony Robbins seminar in Chicago, simply because she appreciates us. Like, is this real life? Being virtually free doesn't mean that you are just a digital nomad or just location independent. It's about living life on your own terms, mastering your mindset, and being an incredibly happy and fortunate human being. I mean, hell, if everyone lived a life like this, I'm sure we would have a lot more Michelle Obamas and a lot less President Trumps. I mean, people would be happy. What a concept, eh? But I digress. Virtual freedom is simple. And I'm about to get real basic on you, but it's living your best life. Now, I totally get it. It's all well and good to describe this seemingly perfect life and not tell you how to get there. Well, here's the secret. There's no blueprint for this. It's a whole lot of trial and error. Oh, and sleepless nights, coffee, wine, whining, potentially even puking. It's blood, sweat, tears, and grime, baby. And it's imperative that you experience this in your life. But I do have some good news. This podcast is to help you overcome the small stuff that you don't actually have to go through to be widely successful. For example, don't think you need to slave away binging YouTube videos on what sort of website to make, even if Carly Kloss really wants you to go with Wix. P.S. Don't do it. Or struggling on deciding if you need a life coach certificate to be a coach or not. Or repeating the same self-destructive behaviors over and over and over again in business, cough, cough, procrastination, simply because you don't recognize it's a destructive behavior. Nobody got time for that. So if you're in the beginning stages of your business and are really damn confused on what to do, or if you're ready to start taking your business and life a lot more seriously and make it one of your dreams, I got you.